want you to hit me as hard as you can.
It was 36 years ago when the nation was swept by the release of Top Gun, Tony Scott's high-flying naval adventure that combined flashy dogfighting action with one of the most iconic film soundtracks of all time and the million-watt charisma of Tom Cruise. But now Tom is finally back in the flight suit of Maverick to help the son of his late buddy Goose take to the skies and kick some more Russian commie ass in the long-awaited sequel, Top Gun: Maverick. And with the sequel garnering surprisingly stellar reviews and making big box office, it's clear that film audiences have not yet lost their need for speed. A need which had seemed seriously deplenished after the 1990 failure of Nicolas goddamn Cage and Tommy Lee Damn Jones taking to the skies as the Firebirds. Yes folks, Awfully Good Movies is feeling generous enough to give you 2 consecutive Nicolas Cage reviews in one glorious year, with his role in this helicopter-based Top Gun knockoff being an attempt by Cage to find a movie that would finally give him a mainstream success among his weirder, lower-budget work, with the film being distributed by none other than Disney under its now defunct Touchstone Pictures label. Yet in a year that saw Touchstone finding huge success with Pretty Woman, Dick Tracy, and Ernest Goes to Jail, they could not save Firebirds from flaming out at the box office on Memorial Day weekend against Back to the Future Part 3, on top of an aerial assault from the critics. And Nick would have to wait a few more years before Disney, with some help from Top Gun mega producer Jerry Bruckheimer, would mold a proper action movie star out of Mr. Cage. But in a time when Nick Cage is finally getting his long due respect, let us see why Disney's first shot at making Nick Cage a movie star failed to hit a cruising altitude. And forget Tom Cruise flying his own planes for Top Gun 2, because Nicolas went even further to prep for Firebirds. He actually lit a bunch of birds on fire while covering himself in gasoline and birdseed so they could swarm him and turn him into a literal Firebird. Hell, Nick Cage is enough of a maverick himself that he wouldn't insist on flying his own jets. He'd insist on flying on top of them.
Cage!
Thanks for watching Awfully Good Movies. If you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now, like this video, and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes up. Now, back to the show. Since the highway to the danger zone is closed up for construction, let's instead partake in one of life's simple joys, which is playing with the awfully good drinking game. Take a shot or drink every time you see one of these numerous shots of the US's military helicopters flying the skies in silhouette against a beautiful sunset. Or as Michael Bay would refer to this shot, oh!
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Then take a double shot as we begin with an opening quote on the then burgeoning war on drugs from then current US President George H.W. Bush. That's when you know you're in for something good, people, when the president has to put a warning label before the movie about how badass it's gonna be. Just like he did with that intro for Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, also distributed that same year by Disney.
What's this? A joint?
It's my lucky crack pipe.
You don't have a lucky crack pipe?
Look who's talking!
Actually, we find Cage playing the role of Jake Preston, a helicopter pilot for the Army who's seen testifying in front of the Army's equivalent of the Illuminati about a recent mission Jake and his fellow pilots were on alongside the DEA to help their agents seize and bring down the cartel's compounds in South America, when their mission gets ambushed by one of the cartel's mercenaries who's driving a Scorpion attack helicopter that he uses to take down all of the Army's choppers except for Jake, who delivers to these Army brass one of the many flag-thumping patriotic monologues that make up much of this movie's dialogue.
I watch the men in those choppers put their lives on the line for their families and their country every day. Cartel has them outpaid, outmanned, and outgunned. Their drugs kill Americans every day. It's a war, and it's our duty to fight.
Wow, Nick, that was delivered with all the enthusiasm of a bored fast food worker reading from the specials menu. Can somebody go get him a cup of coffee, perhaps a cockroach to snack on, and then get a properly crazy performance from our lead to liven up this shit?
You know, I'm sorry about that. I just had to get off my chest. You know, I was a bit wound up back there.
Thank you, Mr. Preston.
You know, you invited me on your show, so I'm just gonna have a blast!
Does anyone else in this room feel as frustrated as I do?
Someone's gonna kill me, man!
Jake Preston's courageous behavior earns him a recommendation from his superiors to join a training course for piloting the United States' latest piece of military hardware, the AH-64 Apache helicopter, with help from the course's cranky hard-ass flight instructor, Brad Little, played by an actor who knows nothing but cranky and hard-ass, Tommy Lee Jones.
Starting right now, you have a new objective in your lives: to become masters of air-to-air combat tactics. We will use them to seek out and confront the forces of evil and kill them deader than hell.
By the end of this course, gentlemen, I will enlist one of you to serve with me in the Men in Black, another of you will be enlisted to become the next Captain America, and the rest of you will be forced to star with me in the all-drag queen sequel to Man of the House. Class dismissed. Now one of you go get me a beer. Brad is asked to work one-on-one with the new pilot on how to not only handle the Apache helicopter, but also come up with colorful military sayings at the drop of a hat.
You will fight as teams of gunners and pilots, each more dependent on the other than they were their own mama. This is like having your ass strapped to the nose of a bullet.
Sounds like a full-time job.
Boy, you're gonna be busy as a three-peckered goat.
Sir, that's an awfully specific metaphor. Do you know of any three-penis goats existing in real life? Because Nicholas over there would just love to buy up that goat skeleton from you for his, personal collection.
That was totally cool. I'd marry that thing.
You're good at pilots, they say you are. I'll give away the bride. Buzzer!
Now, if this movie does not end with Tommy Lee Jones tearfully giving away this helicopter at a wedding ceremony to Nicolas Cage,
You bet I do.
well then I am going to be giving Firebirds my own kind of bird. Of the middle finger variety. And who should be flying alongside Jake in this course but Billy Lee Guthrie, not a tortured mid-60s country artist, but Jake's fellow pilot and former romantic flame, played by Sean Young.
How about a drink this evening?
Jake, not a chance.
Not a chance.
For you younger folks out there who only know her from Ace Ventura, Sean Young was growing infamous in Hollywood around this time for her tumultuous affair with co-star James Woods and bizarre campaign to get herself cast as Tim Burton's Catwoman, which unfortunately made Sean a pop culture punchline.
Oh, I got one. I date Sean Young and then cheat on her with Roseanne Barr.
I'll cut you, man. I'll cut you.
That's the last time I hired Sean Young to be a dancing beer bottle.
So wouldn't you folks be shocked to discover that she didn't get along terribly well with an actor who gets into character by wearing panda blackface, with the film's director having to ask Young to leave the set at one point to keep her apart from Cage, and much of her lifeless performance here getting dubbed over by obvious ADR work.
Stay away from me, Jake. It didn't work before, and it's gonna work now? Me, man. You, woman. I am not Jane of the Jungle. I think you want me to stay home and have babies and cook.
What's wrong with babies and cooking? My mother did that.
Your mother didn't fly helicopters.
It's as if Sean Young also needed that robot clone from Blade Runner 2049 to replace her in this role as well, while she's out downing a beer with Tommy Lee Jones. How unfortunate that Nick will have to be the one who disposes of this robot at the end of production.
Don't you love me?
At least Tommy Lee Jones has a legit excuse for acting like he doesn't want to be here, because he's Tommy Lee Jones.
It's your birthday, let's have a little fun.
I'm too old to have fun. I'm 40 years old and I want to go home.
Which is why he and Cage barely keep the film afloat with their clashing acting styles, as we see Jake Preston next taking the wheel of the Army's flight simulation program.
I have a pocket full of quarters. Let's go play.
Back in the days when the Army's cyber technology was no more advanced than the hard drive-in machine at your nearest video arcade.
How about you? Strawberry gum? It's delicious.
Well, Jake's already failed the test to become Bubblelicious's next celebrity spokesperson.
Darn. Hang in there, Breaker. Let's see what this baby can do. I am the greatest. 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 I am the greatest.
Oh How wonderful. This is the closest we're gonna get to see Nicolas Cage becoming a Twitch streamer.
Blast them, nab them, grab them, shake them, bake them, cook them, close them, boil them.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Oh God, bye!
Unfortunately, the flight simulator becomes Elden Ring levels of hard for Jake when he tries the Apache's targeting device on his left eye, and he crashes the simulator into a game over.
Well, don't worry about it, boys. It's only a video game. While you're having so much fun, try to make believe they just notified your next of kin.
You and your friends are dead. Game over.
All that time he spent trying to perfect his skills on Top Gun on the NES, and it was all for nothing! Sadly, this will be the one major freakout Cage will have in this film, as he's held back by a corny, cliched script that feels like a barely updated war screenplay originally intended for John Wayne in the mid-50s. You've got Cage trying and failing to play cute with Sean Young by trading sexual innuendos with her up in the air.
Direct to your video display.
I've got a display of your tail that is just mind-boggling.
So you can nail it from cover without ever being seen.
I'd love to nail it.
Jake, where are you?
I remember you like me on top.
As if to tell potential female army recruits that they'll be expecting plenty of sexual harassment from their male colleagues instead of doing any actual fighting.
It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. Only that you're good.
You can do it in the army.
Then Cage is trading punches in the gym with his cranky mentor, or rather his obvious stuntman, that hilariously leaves Brad with a bad back and swollen face the next morning.
Boxing a little down at the gym.
Who with? Mike Tyson?
I love you.
Ha, ha, ha. For God's sake, Jenny, you think I have my dick shot off?
Well, I better check. Don't you think?
Yeah, you better see for yourself, darling.
That's right, baby. I grafted 2 extra penises onto my own for your birthday, just like my beloved pet goat Triple Dick. Now let's you and me make the second sexiest Tommy Lee sex tape of the 90s.
You're looking for the sweet spot. Looking for the sweet spot, baby.
Unfortunately, as the drug wars continue raging on with dire news reports on the television and Jake's military bosses having briefing sessions over the 90s equivalent of Zoom, Jake's issues with his left eye resurface just as he's about to pass the final exam of the program.
All right, welcome to the bag.
What's in the bag? A shark or something?
Clear the canyon rim. You clear on that?
Yeah.
I'll do it, Preston.
Take it up, take it up, take it up. I got it, I got it.
This flight is terminated. I have the controls, Mr. Preston. You're on probation until further notified. I had high hopes for you, soldier.
Well, yeah, he just did a flight simulator where this exact same shit happened, so why is this surprising to him?
I blew it. Jake Preston, super pilot, blew it.
You blew it.
Yes, Jake must overcome his hotshot ego and ask for help from both Billy Lee and Brad Little on overcoming his left eye dominance.
You've been pushing me from the beginning. Harder than you pushed anybody else.
I'm pushing you because I think you could be one of the best.
And it hardly makes for exciting action cinema when your hero's greatest adversity can be solved with a trip to the optometrist. Or with Brad's method of training that has Jake wearing panties over his left eye and a makeshift periscope on his right eye, since that's what Nick happened to be wearing on set that day, while driving on the road and endangering many innocent motorists.
Get the fuck out of the way!
A couple more training flights, you're gonna have this stub wired.
He's got panties on his head.
Son, you got a panty on your head. Just drive fast, eh?
So after working out his issues with the targeting device, Jake Preston passes the bag and officially becomes part of the Firebirds.
Well, I'd say that I'm doing piss perfect.
And to thank Billy Lee for helping him pass the test, he demonstrates the romantic method that Nick Cage uses in his real love life, which he has named the Cage System.
According to alphabetical order. C.
Come by and pick up your baby girl in a vintage hot rod you stole from the set of Wild at Heart.
Hey!
Assault your girlfriend into making out with you right after she's changed clothes thanks to a clumsily dubbed scene transition.
Why'd you change?
Less to take off.
Let's skip dinner.
Gee!
Get out the Boner Jams mix CD you borrowed from Patrick Bateman and dance your gal away to the smooth sounds of Mr. Phil Collins, who lends 2 songs off his then recent album to the Firebirds soundtrack after starring in and doing the soundtrack for the previous film of Firebirds director David Green. Not to be confused with David Gordon Green, he made a good Nicolas Cage movie. Enter a night of badly shot PG-13 lovemaking that triggers repressed memories of Tommy Wiseau's own unnecessary sex scenes in The Room. Oh hi Nick Cage, you use same black hair dye as me, huh? But just as Jake and Billy's love has blossomed once again, she gets enlisted alongside him in the task force's first mission alongside the DEA, and he responds with an emasculated hissy fit.
I just don't want you to get hurt!
I chose this career, and you, my friend, are gonna have to accept it.
My friend! Hi fucking ya!
Look, let's face it, Nick Cage legitimately has more chemistry with his Apache helicopter here than he ever does with Sean Young. Why didn't he just have that sex scene with the chopper and Tommy Lee Jones instead? And Cage has even less chemistry with his fellow members of this task force, because they've hardly had one moment where they've interacted with one another in this movie's threadbare 85 minutes. The 4th billed actor who plays Cage's friend here and Goose equivalent doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, while I only noticed 2 other actors in this cast from their roles in Disney's Rocket Man and Slam Dunk Ernest. At least they get to dance a bit to the tunes of our special musical guest, NX Sucks, before they face their first mission together, with Tommy Lee giving Nick one final motivational speech while he's in the middle of eating a orange for hours.
I joined the Army for the same reason you did. And that's to kick ass, just like in the old war movies. That's what I'm looking for in you. First-class, all-American hero with his heart and brain cooking full tilt boogie for freedom and justice.
But before Jay can even ask Brad what having your brain and heart cook full tilt boogie for freedom and justice even fucking means, their base camp is attacked by the cartel's forces, and the time has come to avenge their dead fellow soldiers. Movie, you mind telling me who was flying that exploding toy helicopter? Why are we particularly sad over that guy's death? Please don't tell me it was the guy from Slam Dunk Ernest. And this is where we come to this movie's biggest demerit, the dog-fighting helicopter scenes, which should be the most exciting part of even the corniest aerial war movie. Whereas the bobbing camera work and choppy editing in Firebirds' action sequences might be my personal equivalent of Joel Robinson and the bot sitting through that interminable scene of Hercules walking through a sandstorm on MST3K.
Deep hurting! Deep hurting!
Not only are our actors obviously flying against rear projection screens, but I have no way to distinguish whose helicopter is which or where they are in relation to each other, with the exception of Eric Stoller, the scorpion-flying mercenary who killed Cage's fellow pilots at the film's start, and has been built up as perhaps the cartel's most brutal soldier of fortune.
And someone has paid him to kill you. If you blink up there, people, you are in the body bag.
And yet, the villain of our story is not given one single line of dialogue here, nor does his actor have a Wikipedia page himself.
Damn, he's fast.
Damn, we're smooth.
We're supposed to be scared of this security guard from Mallrats / elderly George Clooney looking white bread motherfucker?
Oh, Jake, save my ass.
You're not touching her, you filthy piece of shit.
If anyone's gonna be assaulting this woman against her wishes, it's gonna be me, pal. Isn't that right, Snookykins? Lieutenant Snookykins.
Then come a pair of fighter jets on behalf of the cartel to help veer this film into full-on Top Gun plagiarism and take out Brad Little's helicopter from the sky, which means it's up to Billy Lee to blow up the other remaining jet herself with the Apache's detachable missile launcher.
Now about my legs are broke. Get your ass in here.
Pull down the metal-looking thing with your right thumb.
You're now activated. Hide your ass. I got him in my sight, and I'm hearing a noise.
Shoot him in the ass. Shoot him in the ass.
Snort that, sucker.
Got you, sucker!
Let's see if Nick Cage can do any better with his final death quip to Eric Stoller before blowing his Michael McDonald-looking ass up on behalf of America.
Oops. You blew it.
Lock him up! Kill him now!
I'm gonna kill him now!
I don't care!
Shoot him in the ass. That was for Dobbs.
But it wasn't for the several other soldiers you guys killed in this movie. I didn't even know their names. Anyway, let's celebrate our victory with a night of drug-fueled karaoke in their honor.
Purple rain! Purple rain!
as the Firebirds prepare for their next mission against the sentient blob of drugs and Mexican stereotypes known as crack lore, we must ask ourselves who the real heroes were here. The Firebirds for saving our country from the surely never to reappear threat of drug addiction? Or the film's crew members for handling a cast of 3 notoriously difficult actors in the middle of a sweltering desert climate that surely led to many of Nick's dino skulls getting defecated on? This film's crew deserves our respect as much as our nation's veterans do, for they too have also suffered and overcome through a brutal war. The one between Tommy Lee Jones's sweaty ball sack and a container of baby powder.
Put your weapon system on the target.
Johnson's. It feels like love.
I want to go home.
Also known overseas as Wings of the Apache, Firebirds is merely a corny yet dull piece of drug war propaganda that can't even veer into becoming Reefer Madness style unintentional comedy. There's very little for our 3 great lead actors to work with, and Cage in particular seems eager to get this over with even more than Tommy Lee Jones. It's only because these 2 actors are still good even while acting on autopilot that I can't dismiss it entirely. But it lies somewhere between Captain Corelli's Mandolin and Trapped in Paradise as one of Nick Cage's justly forgotten movies in an otherwise unforgettable career that you can easily skip for your next Nick Cage marathon. The only way I could see Disney salvaging this property into a streaming TV show is if they also cross it over with Ghost Rider, with Johnny Blaze trading in his bike for a flaming demonic helicopter. Come on, Kevin Feige, make it happen! On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Boulder Bruce, Firebirds would have been far better if it was remodeled as a sequel to a better bird-related war movie with Nicolas Cage, and reaches a wingspan of 3 out of 10. Firebird singing in the dead of night, take this broken film and go rewatch Con Air instead. I'm Jesse Shea for JoBlo.com, and thanks again for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the JoBlo Originals channel. Tell all your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all our latest videos. We are an independent company that appreciates all of your support. And is it too much to hope that next year's Renfield movie with Nick Cage as Dracula can have Tommy Lee Jones joining up in the cast to play the role of Van Helsing?
Yes, oh, happy day! My favorite things. Blue jeans, see a red-haired girl. Sweet peanut butter, a slow-burning candle. Cup of tea and a good book. The dance of the reindeer, and also...
I'm gonna make you so fucking famous, you make sure you're wearing something bright up in that tarmac, because you're gonna be the first fucking cop to die with a plane up his ass!
Well, that's just Jim Dandy.